the opening of universities in Bombay, Calcutta, and Madras and Pune. The university students they were introduced to Shakespeare and also many Sanskrit dramatists like Kalidas, Bhagavati, Sudraka, Narayana Bhatta, and others. So those who were very much aspirants in writing dramas in regional languages, they were highly influenced because they received the inspiration by translating and by adapting some dramas of Shakespeare, and also they enjoyed Sanskrit dramas of Kalidas and Bhagavati. So, coming to the history of this contemporary Indian theatre or modern Indian theatre, it is not a very simple task to exactly find out what is the day of this theatre movement. But it begins with Sambhu Mitra, Bengali. Sambhu Mitra, who was fascinated in theatre from his boyhood days and started in Kolkata of writing good dramas when he was 24. But he could not find a good place or he did not appreciate the culture of heathen people to respond to drama, and he did not like it, so he left that forum. And by the 30s, the professional theatre and after the World War II, so many historical events took place. And most of some importance of them are Azad Hind Fauj, then bombing at Calcutta, then Bengal famine, which is artificial Bengal famine in 1943, the naval mutiny of 1945, and also the communal riots of 1946, and the brutal killings during the partition of the country made everybody mentally ransacked. And people were not so eager to uh, join any other genre of literature rather than drama. And that at that time, from 1944, drama or the play was the radical departure from poetry or any other genre of literature. So the style of these in drama was very much throbbing with the contemporary life of people. And that is why this is modern Indian theatre. And the first drama was Nabanna, which was written by Bijan Bhattacharya, and it was staged and directed by Indian People's Theatre Association IPTA, Indian People's Theatre Association, that is called IPTA. Abbreviation is IPTA. So Sambhu Mitra and Utpal Datta, 1993, they declared themselves a leftist political playwright. Those who were writing about heathen politics, but they were not deeply involved with politics. They wanted to keep this genre of literature, theatre as the genre of literature, away from the influence of politics. And in Calcutta, Utpal Dutt was the famous dramatic uh, director, producer, even actor. And then came Badal Sarkar. Badal Sarkar was also very important. He was in USA, and he was working in Jawaharlal Nehru Research Fellowship in 1972, and gradually the theatre became a widespread genre in the Indian time. In the Indian time means in that period of India. And Bengali theatre was very famous. And apart from Bengali, there was Maharashtrian theatre or theatre in Maharashtra. And the most important dramatist was Vijay Tendulkar in 1928. His famous play, Silence, the Court is in Session, or Santata, Court Chalu Ahe. It was in Marathi, it was written Santata Court Chalu Ahe, and it was translated to Silence, the court is in session, which was a compulsory book in the degree syllabus in many universities of Odisha. So that was a type of modern concept of drama, and in this play, Vijay Tendulkar challenges the lapses of judiciary, and how the value of judiciary is degenerating in the play Santata Court Chalu Ahe or Silence, the court is in session. It is translated into many languages, say Hindi, Bengali, and also in English, which was prescribed in the syllabus of degree students. Then we came to many other writers are there, many other dramatists were there in Maharashtra. But then we came to Vijay Mehta, very realistic playwright, and most of his style or the stagecraft she directed was realistic, and also they were musical and sentimental and also melodramatic, and it was there was also realism and bold experiment. So the group of young collegians who collected around her looked up to her leaders. So many college students they followed the style of Vijaya Mehta, a lady Vijaya Mehta, and then came her theatre craft was very famous, and then the Rangayan was formed in 1954, and then came Sulava Deshpande, the very popular name actor couple Arvind Deshpande and Sulava Deshpande, and a few others, and their famous dramas were Ashwikar. Then we came to Girish Karnad Tughlaq, translated into Marathi by Vijay Tendulkar and directed by Arvind Deshpande and designed with a stunning set comprising multiple levels by Damu Kenkare. So now we come to our dramatist, Girish Karnad. Those who have seen movies, they might have known the person called Girish Karnad, and he is not only a dramatist, but he is also a very good actor, and that too he is a poet also. He writes wonderful poems. Then in Malayalam theatre we have K.N. Panikar from 1928, and also there is Manipuri theatre, and in them Ratan Thyam is a dramatist from Manipuri. He had also written plays basing on Ramayana and Mahabharata, and he had the three or four dramas on Mahabharata, that is Urubhangam, Urubhangam, then Chakravyuha, and then Karnavaram. This is a trilogy. Three dramas from Mahabharata. It is called a trilogy. So, this was written in Manipuri language. Mahabharata trilogy. Then some other playwrights like Mohan Rakesh in Hindi, Bansi Kaul, and Rang Vidisak, Ibrahim Alkaji, Habib Tanvir, they all belong to Hindi. They are all Hindi playwrights. Then from Kannada drama, Mahesh Dattani also came from Bangalore in Kannada, and his famous play is Final Solution. That is there in English honors course. Final Solution. So this is the backdrop of history of modern Indian theatre, and we cannot ignore the role of our dramatists who have tried and attempted to write dramas or plays for within theatre and also for their students of literature by their intense learning, and they have been made history, and they are not only appreciated in that time, they are also being appreciated today, and they have been prescribed for different syllabus in our universities. So most of the post-independence theatre activities focused, most of the post-independent theatre activities focused on national identity. Those who can write, they may note down. National identity, Indian, this is a general theme of the plays in that time. National identity, Indian myths, folk tales, rituals, history and motifs from popular culture occupied an important place in theatre. So these are the major themes. What are they? They are Indian identity or national identity, Indian myths, folk tales, rituals, history, and motifs from popular culture occupied an important role. So these were the major themes of the theatres in Bengali, Marathi, Malayalam, and Manipuri. So this is about the history of modern Indian drama or the comparative drama literature in the 19th century. Now we come to the author, Girish Karnad. Girish Karnad was born in Maharashtra on 19th May in Konkani region, Konkani, 19th May 1938 in Konkani region. In Konkani region, and he graduated from Karnataka University, Dharwad. He had graduated from Karnataka University, Dharwad. Some of the important dates of his life I'm telling you, all I cannot say, it will kill more time. He got President's Gold Medal for the best film for Samskara. We have learned Samskara. Whose play is this? Samskara is whose play? Who has written this? Who has written this Samskara? You are?
Anantamurthy.
You are Anantamurthy. Why others are silent? You were not present in that class? It's a very simple question you should have answered. So he got the President's Gold Medal for Best Film for Samskar. Then he got Fulbright Playwright in Residence and Visiting Professor at University of Chicago in 1987 and 88. And in the year 1992, he got a Padma Bhushan. And in 99, he got Bharatiya Gyanpith Award. Apart from these important awards and felicitations, he had got many awards and they are numberless. And his plays, we will come to it. His plays, there are many. In 1961, he wrote Jajati. In 64, Tughlaq. 71, Hayavadan. And in 1977, Ajumalij. And so on and so forth. So today, our play of discussion is what?
Tughlaq.
Tughlaq. Now, from your previous knowledge, from history or for any honors you had, or any other books you have read, can you tell me who Tughlaq is? Who is Tughlaq?
Muhammad bin Tughlaq, who shifted the capital Delhi from Delhi to Daulatabad
From Delhi to Dolatabad. Why?
for easy governance.
Yes, for easy governance.
Yes, madam. Daulatabad is the middle of the country, so governance would
He
be
wanted to
easy
have
of
a
that.
better eye on all part of his kingdom, so that Dolatabad would be more convenient, isn't it? For that, he shifted his capital from Delhi to Dolatabad. When we try to know about what sort of playwright was Girish Karnad, he had vast knowledge and vast insight. And almost all his plays, they speak of different things. His Jajati deals with Mahabharata, but his Tughlaq deals with history. Understood? His Tughlaq deals with purely history. It's a fact-based play. There was one such person called Tughlaq. So how he started writing Tughlaq is a It is a driving force behind it, his knowledge of history, and how he feels that the king should not be arbitrary to feel that I am all in all and whatever I do is correct. No, such ideas should not remain in the mind of a king because the king has to be good. And in order to impress the readers about how what sort of king was Tughlaq, he wanted to deliberate or delineate the character of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, though he was a mad fellow. At the end of his life, he became mad. No, and people call him a mad king. So, in this Tughlaq, Girish Karnad wants to the wants to popularize the ideology that should persist in the mind of a king. King, there is a statement that king can do no wrong. But is it a fact? King can do wrong. There is a council of ministers, there are advisors which the king should consult and should know and should follow the best idea or the best advice. But this king, he was very arbitrary, self dependent, and he was autocratic at certain point of time. But this is a real historical figure. This drama is based on the real historical figure of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. And it is not only historical, it is also a fantastic play which has enhanced the quality of the protagonist. Right down. Tughlaq of Girish Karnad, Tughlaq within inverted comma. Tughlaq of Girish Karnad proved his excellence in dramatic writing as if he was under the influence of, as if he was under the influence of Shakespeare, Shakespeare, Beckett. Who is Beckett? Who is Beckett?
Samuel Beckett.
Yes. What sort of writer was he? What sort of playwright? Absurd playwright.
Abstract drama he has written.
Absurd playwright. Yes, absurd dramatist. So he was under the influence of Shakespeare, Beckett, Albert Camus, and Albert Camus, who were legendary playwrights legendary playwrights impacting impacting the style of impacting the style of Girish Karnad's writing, especially in the play, Tughlaq. The titular character Tughlaq, titular means title character. Titular, Titular. The titular character Tughlaq, why the class is so thin? Because of Sunday. The titular character Tughlaq is projected as a is projected as a king, a ruler doesn't care for who doesn't care for any society or citizen, any society or citizen. This shows the Machiavellian attitude of Tughlaq.
Madam,
Machiavelli spelling?
This shows the Machiavellian attitude. But I am all in all, individualistic attitude of Tughlaq. Now stop writing, listen to me. When we see the character of a real Tughlaq in history, we find that he is a man of very secular attitude. He had no feeling about Hindus and Muslims. He had enough love towards Hindus, though he belongs to Muslim community. And he had changed his capital from the, as you know, in the opening scene, what happens? In the opening scene, we find there is a proposal of shifting the um, capital from Delhi to Dolatabad, because that will help the king in conducting his administration from the center, and that too he will become more popular to the Hindus, because that is very nearer to many states which are mostly inhabited by Hindus. So his decision was always good, always a pro people, but he was arbitrary in his decision. He doesn't require anybody's change. Now, have you gone through the text? Have you read it? Asalata? Has
No,
anybody read
ma'am.
it? Then how I will teach? I told you before the class you should come prepared at least the summary. Nobody.
Sorry, ma'am.
And if you feel sorry, it's not okay. You have to know, no? So there is an announcement in the beginning of the drama that the the capital is going to be shifted to Daulatabad. And the purpose behind it is that the central location of Daulatabad will help the king to find closeness to the Hindus, and it also bewilders the Muslim populace, and Muslim people they did not appreciate it. So after the announcement, there was a suit against the king, and the king himself appears and talks to his ideal of moving towards greater justice, equality, progress, and more purposeful life. His idea of shifting his capital to Daulatabad was, among other things, meant to strengthen the bonds between Muslim and Hindu. So the higher value of communal unity was ventilated by the idea of changing his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. So it was a question as to why suddenly the king decided this. So the king, on the other hand, was not a good person. He killed his father and his brother because he wanted to become the king. And he had no interest in discussing any issue with the public or with the court. And he could murder his father and brother because he was very much crazy. He was very much, uh, you can say, his desire was unresistible or irresistible to become the king. And that was the question of mannerism. He did not have a popular gesture. A king should always have a popular gesture, which Muhammad bin Tughlaq did not have. He had many intentional policies, and all good policies. One of them was the Brahmins, who was won his suit against the Sultan, his Aziz. And you know, there is a person called Aziz. You haven't read it, how you will know whatever I'm saying. There is a person called Ajit who has disguised himself as a Brahmin, and he fought against the king's motive of shifting this capital. And the Sultan discusses these issues with Ain about the invasion of Ainul Mulk and the disaffection of Sheikh Imam Uddin with advisors. A clever move to hinted at. So there was resistance from the Muslim community and others to stop this idea of the king to uh, shift this capital. But the king did not listen. And as we have read, the mad king Muhammad bin Tughlaq, he could not he could not listen to anybody's advice. Neither he wanted or waited for anybody's advice. So finally, using Islamic card, the Sultan is able to persuade him to go to Ainul Mulk as his envoy in the name of Islam. And in this scene 3, there was a public meeting for Sheikh Imamuddin fails. The Sultan vocalizes his vision of unifying all his people on a basis broader than Quran. The Sheikh agrees to go and persuade Ainul Mulk to desist from invasion. With this also, there was an invasion from Ainul Mulk, and that is all. There is also some external aggression which the king had to face simultaneously. So, in this critical time, he wanted the help of Sheikh, and he also tried to help the Sultan, but unfortunately, he could not do it. And finally, the Sultan's view that religion and politics be kept apart from one another. He had nurtured one idea that religion should be free from politics. There should be no imposition of politics into the practices of religion, because India is a secular state in our modern constitution. Before that, also, the kings did not interfere into the religious practices of the civilians. And in scene 4, there are 13 scenes. In scene 4, Sheikh Imamuddin is mistaken for the Sultan and is killed. Eventually, his appearance was exactly like the Sultan, so he was killed. Eventually, the Sultan wins the battle and forgives Ainul Mulk. A conspiracy against the Sultan is afoot. So, though Ainul Mulk, which is another organ of the government, of the society, which fought with the king regarding this sensitive issue of shifting the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad, was also killed. So he did not hesitate to kill anyone for any purpose. That was another nasty practice of Tughlaq, that he was very autocratic and rigid in his decision. And in scene 5, we come to know about the conspirators who persuaded a reluctant Sibabuddin to lead the conspiracy, and at the suggestion of Ratan Singh decides to kill Sultan while he is praying. So there was a plan to kill Sultan, and Sultan is this Muhammad bin Tughlaq, who is the king, and but he was praying. And there is a belief in Islam or even Christianity also, that you should not kill somebody when he is praying, because at that time he reaches God directly. And that was postponed, and the conspiracy is defeated. The leader Sibabuddin is ruthlessly stabbed by the Sultan himself. So the conspiracy, which was designed by this this man Sultan, it was failed, and he was killed. He was ruthlessly stabbed by the Sultan himself. So there is a time where the king does not hesitate to kill by himself. He kills people very without any problem, without any palpitation in his heart. So this is a very peculiar kind of person, and that is why the title of the play, the titular character, Tughlaq, provokes a lot of thought among the critics. Now, Tughlaq, the titular character, write down. Tughlaq, the titular character, is portrayed in such a way that it is very difficult to draw any conclusion, to draw any conclusion regarding the personality, the motto, the thought, the style of administration between of the king or of the protagonist, which has kept all other characters in confusion, which has kept all other characters in confusion to know about the measures that the king is going to take up. Measures that the king is going to take up. In scene 7, we find out that Aziz, an officer, who is in the guise of a Brahmin, gives an idea of minting copper coin. Please read out the sentence again. Please read out. Anybody?
In 7, we find out the find out what is an officer who is in guise of a Brahmin.
Yes. He gives the idea of printing copper coins. Copper coins. During the transfer of capital from Delhi to Dolatabad. And there is a public announcement regarding regarding what did you write?
No, madam, regarding upon
See, read from the
Ma'am,
beginning.
regarding
No, regarding just before regarding, what did you write?
there is a public announcement regarding
Regarding the shifting of the capital and minting of copper coin. The Sultan is unable to catch the pretension of Aziz. So Sultan is unable to catch the pretension of Aziz. Aziz, on the other hand, kills Ghiyasuddin Abbasis, who is a rival of Aziz, in the process of shifting.
madam. Aziz on the other hand killed
Aziz kills Ghiyasuddin Abbasid. This would have been better if you would have read. You could have known the characters, link of the character. So that when I narrate the story or give some notes, you can connect it. If you don't read, then what will happen to the total class?
sorry madam. Sorry madam, I have election duties
Go on
till
saying sorry.
1st.
It is not helpful for you. I'll go on saying this and that, and it will have no effect on you if you are not thorough about the topic itself. Could you understand me? So it is very discordant. What I'm saying you are not able to catch because this is very discordant. Okay. In scene 3, no, the proposal of killing or the Ghiyasuddin Abbasis is killed by Aziz, who is a rival, and he wanted to go to Daulatabad in the place of Aziz. So Aziz killed him on his way. Many murders take place, willful murders, without any hesitation, for no solid reasons. People are killed. And there was a political division. There was a political division between Tughlaq himself or Muhammad and his fellow men who used to guide them. And when Aziz is caught that, when Aziz is caught that he is not Aziz, he is not a Brahmin but he is Aziz, there is a communal riot. The palace, the king's palace, has become a proper platform for exchanging views and, of course, exchanging swords.
The king's palace has become.
Exchanging views and exchanging swords. So that means murders. He himself acknowledges that he has become mad. At the end of the play, at the end of play, the note is very somber. The note is very somber. SOMBRE. The Sultan falls asleep. He feels sleepy, and he tells Barani, another fellow man of his kingdom, to pray God for his sleep, and he sleeps. And one attendant wraps a shawl around him, and just then Muezzin's call for prayer is heard. Muezzin's call for prayer means the prayer in the mosque. The attendant stops but decides not to wake him up. After the Muezzin's call fades away, the Sultan suddenly opens his eyes and looks around dazed. It is as if he is unconscious and had nursed him awake in prayer time. There was a time when he did not have a time to sleep. Now he is so dead tired and he goes to sleep just before prayer time. It is touching to see a thoughtful servant preparing to let the Sultan sleep, even when it is near prayer time. The suggestion is that natural need are far more important than political necessity. So in scene 13, the play ends and we see this mad king after being exhausted of doing a lot of things like shifting the capital, introducing many new ideas. He was a lover of his public, but sometimes he is so arrogant, so arbitrary that he doesn't take a time to kill somebody. And a very eventful life comes to an end. And at the end of the play, the hero sleeps. Who is the hero?
The Sultan.
Tughlaq. Now he is the titular character. Tughlaq is the hero. So Karnad wants to, Girish Karnad wants to establish the fact that these these human beings, they are not so much powerful to control nature And sleeping here at the end of the drama is a demand of nature, which the king cannot avoid, and is helped by a mere attendant, and he is feeling sleepy. He doesn't have a family. He didn't have a family. So that was a very peculiar life story of uh, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, popularly known as Tughlaq or Sultan. This is all a rough sketch of the story. Now we come to the critical part of the play about plot. Who can tell me what is the plot of the play? The plot of the play is linear, doesn't take any change. A king is ruling, and throughout the rule, what is happening is the plot. It is a descriptive lifetime story of a king called Tughlaq. So the plot is very flat. The scenes are entirely functional. In every scene, we find some work, and each scene, if you can write, you can take one comment of critic. Rajinder Paul. Rajinder Paul comments, inverted comma begins, each scene is like a brick. Each scene is like a brick. Is like a brick serving a particular role, serving a particular role and helping in the total structure. All scenes are episodic, helping in the total structure commands. All scenes are episodic. Episodic means you have seen TV serial. In every new day there is some new event, isn't it? That is called episode. So all scenes are episodic, and the total number of scenes contribute to the whole of the plot. The total number of scenes contribute to the whole of the plot. Don't write. Now coming to the structure, it describes what has happened in the 5 years rule of the Sultan. It describes what has happened in the 5 years rule of the Sultan. And though Sultan is the hero or the protagonist, though the Sultan is the hero or the protagonist, the focus is on his policies more than his personality. The focus is more on his policies than his personality. The audience must know that the audience must know what common people think about the king called Tughlaq.
The audience must know
Where the what the common people think about Tughlaq. The scenes are reflected into as categorized as two. One, some of them are shallow, some of them are deep. In shallow scenes, there are no important character movement or interaction. But in deep scenes, the all important characters talk and come together, confront each other, they share their views, and deep, serious action takes place when the scene is deep. So the writer categorizes the scenes into two parts. One is shallow and the other is deep. Shallow scenes are that the shallow scene is that where the shallow scene is that where minor characters. One thing I must tell you, he was influenced by Shakespeare and he has included many characters into it. Many characters, some royal people, some ordinary people like Shakespeare's. Any historical play you read, you will find a large number of characters. Even a common man going on the road has some dialogue to say. Understood? That is the style here adapted by by Girish Karnad. So what I said that the scenes are categorized into two. One is shallow and the other is deep. In shallow scenes, only minor characters interact, and in deep scenes, only the special characters, especially the royal characters, are shown. And Karnad himself admits that Karnad himself admits that this is ideal. This is ideal to show the gulf or the gap between gulf means gulf between the rulers and the ruled, between the mysterious inner chambers of power politics, between the mysterious inner chambers of power politics and the open public areas of those affected by it. Mysterious inner chambers of power politics and the open public areas of those affected by it. But he himself admits that he could not maintain sufficient balance. Who says this? Corner. He himself admits that he could not maintain sufficient balance.
He himself.
Admits that he could not maintain sufficient balance between these two, the rulers and the ruled.
Ma'am, he himself admit that he could not balance.
Between these two, the rulers and the ruled. Now coming to the theme. What are the themes? How many themes are there? Who can tell me? How many themes are there? The major theme of the play is power. The major theme of the play is power. And now don't write, listen to me. We have read many stories of the kings of different countries of human civilization where the whole thing rules the world is power. And for power, there can be murder, there can be massacre without any hesitation. Cold blooded murders will take place only for the cause of power. And Tughlaq represents such a personality. Tughlaq represents the vehicle of power throne or the vehicle of power. How for power he can do anything. So power is the master killer here, not the person. Who kills? Tughlaq kills. Why kills? For power. Understood? The Sultan is committing more than one, two, three murders only because to retain power in his hand. He is very much afraid of any sort of threat from any kind, from any person, and the moment he feels that somebody is opposing him, he finishes them. So the whole theme is power. And there is a statement in political science: power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So one, now you might be seeing the present politics. Anything you think to do, you do it. Nobody is there to challenge and complain. That is called absolute misuse of power. So Tughlaq had limitless power. Though he had consideration for certain things of society, for the development of people, for the he had affinity towards other castes, even he had love towards Hindus. Apart from these good qualities, the whole thing that prevailed in the mind strongly is exercise of power. So the theme is basically power and its tragic misuse. The theme of the play is power and its tragic misuse. Most of the time, Muhammad says, inverted
Ma'am,
comma begins. Yes, come on, any
shall
question?
we shall we write it?
What?
Ma'am, shall we write it?
No, no, no. Just listen. Most of the times, the king says, I am not worried about my enemies. I am only worried about my people. See, how dedicatedly he says that I am only worried about my people means I am only thinking of the betterment of my public, my mass. But actually, the moment he gets in, he smells any problem, even if he is a public, he doesn't hesitate to kill him like cats and dogs. Understood? This is his ideological boasting. This you note down. The king suffered from ideological boasting, and he did not want to follow his forefathers. What forefathers? He killed his father and brother only for power. So what he will follow from his forefathers? Anyway, he did not want to follow his forefathers or the previous sultans of Delhi. He thinks that he had killed his father and brother for some ideal. What ideal? The ideal is, inverted comma begins, to have the ideal is to have power, strength to shape my thoughts. Inverted comma begins, mind you, his own dialogue. Power, comma, strength to shape my thoughts, strength to act, strength to recognize myself, strength to recognize myself, commands. Another part of the theme is that, don't write, listen to me. Another part of the theme is that individually he is not always concentrating on office administration or exercise of power. He was a poet also, and he was a dreamer. He remains always in an imaginative mood. He loves nature, and he always wants to soar high to the sky and contemplates in a state in which he finds himself addressing his people to share their joys and sorrows with him. He welcomes people to share their feelings with him. He always welcomes. But how safe it is to go to him, that nobody knows. So that is the controversial question in the character of Muhammad. So in every now and then he keeps the people as witness. In every now and then he keeps the people as witness. He doesn't fight all alone. His step to his step to change the capital, though had some though had some positive intention, but many people did not appreciate it. Though he had lost his father and brother, he had his stepmother with him who could always guide him. But sometimes, when he felt that the stepmother is over interfering, he killed her. When he came to know that the stepmother is over interfering, he finished her. So he doesn't hesitate to kill anyone at any point of time. That was the mad king Tughlaq. Okay. Now come to the symbolism. Come to the symbolism. In this play, Girish Kannad uses symbols which are not very literary, but they are theatrical symbols, and they form integral part of the play's actions. As for example, disguise of Aziz, disguise of Aziz. Note down one. Disguise of Aziz is the first symbol. It is a very effective symbol of hypocrisy, role playing, and imitation. Here, the absurd drama is referred. Absurd drama is referred. In absurd drama, role playing is a meta-theatrical mode. Aid. Meta-theatrical aid. Role playing. So the first symbol is disguise. Disguise of Aziz. Then another important symbol is chase. So now listen to me. Right from the time of Mahabharata, chase has remained as a symbol of height, symbol of war, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, madam.
Yes. So here also, the king plays chess, and playing chess and thinking of defeating his friend. That is the undercurrent which is always there in the mind of a king to defeat the opposite, or to defeat the protesters. That is how chess has become very key to the structure of the game of chess, or to the structure of the theme. And Muhammad, like the king of the chessboard, moves towards the center of the board of his safety by shifting his capital from Delhi to Daulatana. He is compared with the king of the chessboard. Write down. Symbolically, Muhammad is compared to the king of the chessboard,
Ma'am, Mohammad is
shifting the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad, or playing chess. Symbolically, the Muhammad is playing chess and trying to defeat his friend. Here, his friends are enemies, and he always cares for his safety. Safety, while shifting the capital from Delhi to Daulatabad. And the character of Aziz is compared to that of a pawn of chess.
Ma'am, the character Aziz.
is compared to a pawn of chess. In many scenes, especially in scene 2, when it opens, he is playing chess by himself. Look at the madness of this man. Nobody is there with him. He is playing all alone. By that, he is sorting out. He is sorting out the problems, how to solve them. He himself plays all alone in scene 2. Please read the text. Please read the text. At least the para-wise or the scene-wise summary of the text. Okay. Aziz, Aziz is a character who is basically Dhobi. Doesn't belong to a very high background. Is basically Dhobi from Siknar. And he is checkmated. The king has been checkmated by Aziz. This is the irony of the situation. The irony is that with all his skill in chess and political maneuvering, with all his skill of kingship, of administration, of exercising power, he falls a prey or he has been checkmated by Ajit, a small employee having a very falsy or falsified background. The, the playwright introduces the device of disguise and resemblance. Disguise and resemblance. Ajay is disguised as a Brahmin, and that another Muslim called Ghiyasuddin, he is resembling the Sultan, so he was killed. So there is the production of, yes, the characterization of the characters or the characterization art of characterization of Kannada is, write down, they are sometimes duplicate and sometimes fake. The character of Ajit is disguised as Pandit Vishnu Prasad. Pandit Vishnu Prasad. This is a disguised character. And the similarity is there or resemblance.
Ma'am, similarity is there.
Similarity is there in among two characters. One Ghiyasuddin, who is wearing the jacket he has stolen while when arrives Daulatabad, and in scene 11, he is putting on that and it's seeming like the Sultan. So he is killed. Ambition, theme of ambition, write down. This is particularly about the character of Ajay. Ajay, who belongs to a very low background, is ambitious about enriching himself in various ways. And finally, position and power,
In various.
and finally reaches at position and power, and also checkmates the Sultan himself. Checkmates the Sultan himself. There is a comparison and contrast of there is a comparison and contrast of high characters and low characters. Some theatrical images which are used by Carnot is that some theatrical images which are used by Carnot are theater is an illusion, and it is a life is a fleeting shadow, and there is a vision and a dream like experience. The king dreams.
Theater
There is a vision and dream like experience of the king. King means the play. Tughlaq.
ma'am, theater is a
Loudly, please, I can't hear you. What
Theater
are you
is an
saying?
illusion. Theater is an illusion.
Theatre is an illusion, a fleeting shadow, and it is a vision and a dream like experience. It is a vision and a dream like experience. There is an utter inner conflict. This is conflict, which is a part feature of drama, and the conflict is always internal. In the character of this Tughlaq, the conflict is always internal. External conflict he doesn't allow. He never allows anybody protesting him. He never allows any split of opinion. He never allows anybody contradicting his view. But the conflict that exists inside him is internal conflict. That is, uh, the disturbance inside his mind. Understood? He is at war with himself. In this, the character or Tughlaq is at war with himself. The positive qualities of the hero or Tughlaq, the positive qualities of the hero or Tughlaq is positive qualities of the hero or the protagonist or Tughlaq are that basically he is a warrior. While writing character sketch include this. He is a warrior, comma, a visionary. Visionary means he has far sight. He can see 20 years ahead. He is a visionary, a poet, a poet, a love, a lover of chess. He loves rose garden and enjoys reading poem. He reads the Greeks and he always feels there is a Greek in his personality. and he always feels that there is a Greek in his personality. He himself feels that in his vision he finds the world which is not even in Quran or in Arabs, much beyond that, which is not even in Qurans or Arabs, or it is much beyond that. All the while, the character talks about tomorrow, a new future. All the while, the character talks about tomorrow, a new future, a new future. People are afraid of him, but, but they always say, people are afraid of him, but they always say that you are you are a learned man. You are a learned man, Your Majesty. You are known the world over for your knowledge of philosophy and poetry. History is not made only in statecraft. Its lasting results are produced in the ranks of learned men. So he thinks that he is not only learned, he has been appraised, praised, and people love him because he has that potential of history, philosophy, poetry, and a lot of virtues. He is an embodiment of lot of virtues, but unfortunately, he doesn't hesitate to kill anyone he wants to. He doesn't give time. He doesn't give time. He always loves to be among the learned men, not among the market of corpses. Look at the language of Girish Kannad. You can write down. The king loves to be in the company of learned men. Learned men, not in the market of corpses. What is corpse? He always loved to speak through symbols. And when he sees a rose, he feels that this is the symbol of Sadi's poems. This is an image of Sadi's poems. He is very poetic, and he is unable to accept the people's version or people's idea, people's wordings in normal language because he is extremely poetic, above the range. Towards the end of the play, he wants to surrender his kingship and wants to go to Makkah for religious purposes. And he says that I have often thought of that myself to give up this futile seesaw struggle. Seesaw struggle is ruling, and so go to Makkah, sit there by the Kaaba and search for the peace which Daulatabad hasn't given me. What bliss! But it isn't that easy. It isn't as easy as leaving the patient in the wilderness because there is no cure for his disease. So he is expressing his views with so many symbols of disease, then Makkah, then Roj. All these symbols are used all together in order to express his helpless condition that neither he can stop governing nor he can govern properly. So he cannot go away from this turmoil nor he can successfully rule. So towards the end of his life, he becomes mad. He kills mercilessly his close relatives. Forget about others. Forget about his enemies. His close relatives, his father, his stepmother, and Sibabuddin, and the stepmother, and his brother Sibabuddin, And the conflict is between the visionary and the ruler. And the struggle of Muhammad is to achieve a synthesis between the two. So, in the figure of write down, in the figure of Muhammad, in the figure of Muhammad, we have two potential characters. One is a visionary, and the other is a ruler. And Muhammad tries to synthesize both, which is not possible. And Muhammad tries to synthesize both, which is not possible. Though he is a poet, he doesn't become a successful ruler, but as a visionary, he wants to establish utopia. Utopia, you. So at the end, he fails and goes mad. But he was mad much prior to it. At the end scene, he himself tells that I am going mad or I have become mad. But his activities showed his madness much before. Okay. Now we'll come to character sketch. Character of Muhammad. Important points you can note down. Muhammad is power thirsty and a crafty manipulator. Muhammad is power thirsty and crafty manipulator. He is an idealist and visionary too. He is an idealist and visionary too. He is confident that he is right, or he is overconfident of his righteousness.
He's confident.
Not confident, he is overconfident of his righteousness. He doesn't tolerate dissent. DISSENT. And he is impatient with people. And he is impatient with people. So, he is a peculiar mixture of many things. He considers his public to be mere cattle. He considers his public to be mere cattle. So he keeps himself away, alienated from the people. So he keeps himself away or alienated from the people. He has no restraint. He has no restraint to force his will upon others. He shows no restraint to force his will upon others. Apart from these qualities, he has become a stringent ruler. A stringent ruler next character is the stepmother. When Muhammad loses his brother and father, it is none but his stepmother who guides him at the time of trouble. But the moment he comes to know that his stepmother also interferes to his exercise of power, he immediately kills her. And by stoning. He kills her by stoning. No? And he says that this is punishment for adultery. The stepmother of Muhammad is the only lady character in this masculine world of play.
Madam, his stepmother.
Is the only lady character in this masculine world of play. She is quite strong and intimate to Muhammad. Though she is stepmother, but she is careful for his late nights, and also she is solicitous or very much bothering his about he is also bothering about his welfare. There is a mystical relationship between the stepmother and Muhammad. She always blames Wazir Muhammad Najib, who is a friend and guide of the Sultan or Muhammad. So the stepmother always blames Wazir Muhammad Yazid, Najib, who is a friend and he is a partner. Like he is in the team of uh, Muhammad for disturbing her, for disturbing his mental peace. The stepmother always accuses this man, Wazir Najib. She consults with Bharani to exercise his restraining influence on her son and gets a promise from him never to desert his sultan. She waits for a while, after which him she has him poisoned. So this lady is also not a small thing. She wanted to be to consult with Najib's. She blames Najib to have misguided the Sultan, and she tells Bharani, another man, to take care of Sultan. But gradually she lost trust on Bharani and poisoned him to death. And poisoned him to death. So the death of Bharani makes Muhammad very reactive. He finds that there is betrayal of trust, and he comes to know that his mother is interested to interfere into the political life of Muhammad, which is the last thing he can tolerate. And what he does, that he knows to deal with dissent is violence. He is very violent with those who oppose him. And stepmother wanted to be a rival center of power. Note down. Please note down. The stepmother of Muhammad, she wanted to be a rival center of power. And this is the last thing which Muhammad could tolerate. He knows no rivalry. So he punishes his stepmother for adultery and finishes her by stoning, which is death by stoning. Stoning, throwing stone. He always loves to pray. This man, he most of the times prays God. But sometimes he tries to pray but unable to pray. This shows her his inability. As his mind is in a turmoil, so he is not able to concentrate for praying God. He himself says, I am unable to pray, but I could only find words learnt by rote which left no echo in the heart. For the first time, perhaps, we have a feeling for the genuineness of Muhammad as a human being. So, human qualities in general were very rare in the character of Muhammad. Even he did not excuse his stepmother, though he needed her help for many a times. But the moment he came to know that she is interfering into his political life, he did not excuse her, rather stoned her to death. And as he was a single man and his brother and father were dead, it was the stepmother's death signifies the drying up of the springs of human affection in him. So when he lost his stepmother, he became very dry because no other human being is there to understand, to cajole, to love, to feel sympathy for him other than his stepmother. Then we come to the character of Barani, popularly used as Barney. Barney or Ziauddin Barney, he was a court historian and he is a critical insider. He is like a narrator who sees and very neutral, who sees everything and very neutral. He knows all the things that happened in the court of Muhammad, all the murders he has witnessed, but he is very detached. He is a sober man, level headed and honest. He is described by the stepmother of Muhammad as a sober man and level headed means very stable, and also he is very honest. Bharani is a close ally of the stepmother and he promised the stepmother not to leave Muhammad alone because the stepmother wanted that this is the only man who can help his son, her son. But but though Bharani promises her never to leave him ever, whatever he does, a time comes when his mother dies in the food riots raging in the country, and he uses the opportunity to quit. His departure is the departure of the last of the faithfuls, and is a signal for the ascension of opportunities like Ajit. So there is a contrast and comparison between Aziz and this Barney. Barney was very close to the king, but when his mother died of food riots raging in the country, he leaves the court. And when he leaves, Aziz interferes. Aziz takes his place. There is a growing rebellion from Sheikh Imamuddin and others to placate Mulk. There were two rebellion which was confronted by this man, this king, and at that moment the king was alone, and the moral values upheld by Bharani. Bharani used to guide Muhammad very morally, but when he left, Aziz took that place and there was no morality at all. Bharani, about Bharani, write down two lines. Bharani is naturally very discreet in his comments and criticism and never advises unsought, UNSOUGHT. That means if he is not asked, he doesn't say anything. This is a very great quality of many courtiers. They never interfere, they never jump to say. They wait until they are asked. Bharani is one such. No, unless he is sought, he doesn't say anything. But when his advice is needed, he is very forthright. Immediately he gives best advice. When Muhammad asks him for a remedy for the diseased polity, he suggests abdication, a remedy that Sheikh Imamuddin had also suggested more distinctly. So he says that in order to avoid this confronting position of war, you should abdicate yourself from this situation. History is not made only in statecraft. Its last time results are produced in the ranks of learned men. That's where you belong, Your Majesty, in the company of learned men, not in the market of corpses. This is said by Barade. Look at the appreciation of the personality of Muhammad that is said by Barani. What sort of person is the king is? He says, history is not only made of statecraft. It is not so important to rule. Everybody is ruling. It is last time results are produced in the ranks of learned men. What you are doing, how you are guided, who is your best advisor, that will make your kingdom. Kingdom is not only yours. You have to depend upon a council, and all the council should be learned. So that is where you belong. That means you are a very learned man. He means to say that the king is a very learned man. Your Majesty, in the company of learned men, not in the market of corpses. So he says, your company is among learned men, not in the market of corpses. You are such a genius. You should find your standard among learned men. So though he said there was time when you believed in love, in peace, in God. What was happened to those ideals? Why this bloodshed? So when the king started killing one another, one after another, the mother, the brother, the father, then Bharani is asking, your idea was very high. It was all about love, peace, God, nature. Where are they now? Why you are depending on bloodshed? This was the version of Bharani when he criticized the king, and he is the man who could change the views, the insight of the thought of Muhammad. I think I should be excused for a glass of water.
Okay. Sure, ma'am.
5 minutes break. Huh?
Okay.
I resume very soon. Very shortly I resume.
Sure, ma'am.
Just a minute. Then we come to the character of Sheikh Imamuddin. Sheikh Imamuddin uh, is the most vehement critic. He criticizes Sultan. and he says that he is incompetent, that he is a disgrace into Islam, and most of all that he has forfeited the right to rule by murdering his father and brother at prayer. So, see, this Sheikh Imamuddin is a challenge to Muhammad. Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He says this man can never be an Islam. He is a stain in the religion of Islam. He is a disgrace to Islam, and he is a vehement critic of Muhammad. Sikh is a brilliant orator, and his inflammatory speeches have caused a riot in Kanpur. Look, this man, Sheikh Imamuddin, is a brilliant orator. Orator means one who can speak for hours. Understood? He is orator. And he says he is the man who can provoke the people to go to riots or to involve in riots. His voices or his speeches are so inflammatory and caused a riot in Kanpur. He has now become the backbone of rebels, and his presence in Delhi is obvious a cause for great alarm to Najib and Muhammad. He is tough nut to crack, as can be seen in scene 3. So, this man, Sheikh Imamuddin, is a threat to Muhammad, and he also challenges his policies, his personality, his rule as a king, and he says that he is a disgrace in Islam. He is a disgrace in Islam. But whatever the toughness of Sheikh Imamuddin may be, he is not able to see through the designs of the Sultan. He cannot see as the Sultan sees. In a clever move, the Sultan tries to clip his wings by openly asking all Delhi to come and listen to him, but privately sending his soldiers to homes to prevent the people from going to the meeting. The result is that there is no one to listen to the Sikh, none except the Sultan. So one day this Sheikh Imamuddin organized one meeting. But what did Muhammad do? He sent soldiers to every home not to join the meeting. So in the meeting there was nobody. Only Sheikh Imamuddin spoke and the Sultan listened. Not a single civilian joined that meeting, and Sultan used his maximum power by sending soldiers to every house so that people feared to join the meeting, and all alone the Sultan listened what this Sheikh Imamuddin said. Understood? And this is only a trailer to the real drama that unfolds later. The Sultan is able to successfully persuade the Sheikh to go to Ainul Mulk as his envoy to peace and appealing to him in the name of avoiding shedding of Muslim blood. So, further, though he did not accept the speech of this Sheikh Imamuddin, again the Sultan tried to use Imamuddin uh, against whom? Against Ayunul Haq. Ainul Haq also, Ainul Mulk, that is also a protest party led by Sheikh Ainul in order to convince the Sheikh Imamuddin was sent by the Sultan to convince Ainul Mulk as his envoy to peace by appealing him in the name of avoiding shedding Muslim blood. So there was Muslim killing, and this man was sent to convince him. And simple-minded Sheikh falls into its trap and goes on the peace mission. There is a melee, he is mistaken for the Sultan and he gets sent. So what happened there? This man, Ainul Haq, was confused to be the Sultan and people killed him. This resemblance was that Najib and Muhammad had banked on. So this was the, I told you about the resemblance. So he resembled the Sultan, so people got angry and killed him. Then another character is Sihabuddin. We had learned this man in history, Sihabuddin, the prince of is the prince of Sampansar and could be called the reluctant leader of the conspiracy against Sultan. So when there was a utter conspiracy, challenges, protest against the Sultan, this man Sihabuddin was there. He has come to Delhi at the invitation of the Sultan to look after the administration along with Najib during the Sultan absence. This invitation is meant to be a move to mollify the prince's father. So this man had gone to Delhi when the capital was shifted from Delhi to Daulatabad, and he was there to help the administration when the Sultan was absent. So this is all about the small characters. And also, Sivabuddin himself has no grievance against the Sultan nor any personal ambition. Though he is requested by the rebellion Amirs and is egged on by his adopted brother Sardar Ratan Singh to lead the conspiracy, he remains reluctant to do it so still among the very end. In fact, he has words of praise for the Sultan. So this man Siabuddin was very much obliged to Sultan and he never spoke a word against him. Though he was influenced by Sardar Ratan Singh and the Amirs of India to speak against the Sultan, he denied. There are no more characters. Yes, all characters discussed. Now you come to the critical analysis of the play, Tughlaq, successful or failure, and how and why Tughlaq is interpreted as an absurd play, a historical play, and also so critics. There are many critical approaches. Tughlaq as a text of drama. You write certain questions first, then we will interpret. Question number one, all covering questions. Question number one, justify the title of the play Tughlaq. Justify the title of the play with an inverted comma, single inverted comma, Tughlaq. What next question? What influence of excuse me excuse me what influence of different playwrights like Shakespeare and Beckett
The different playwright.
like Shakespeare and Beckett like Shakespeare and Beckett you find in the play. Next question. Tughlaq or Muhammad stands as a noble king, a poet, and a philosopher. Justify. If you don't read the book, you cannot answer single question. And today's class was very dull because none of you know the text. None of you know what is there. If you have read it, if you would have read it, you could have cooperated with me. There would have been lively interaction. Nothing happened. Nothing such things happened. So the class was completely dull. And I find some people not doing anything, only they have joined. That's all. At least you cooperate. Come prepared. Yes, what was the last question?
Tughlaq or Muhammad stands as a noble king, poet, and philosopher.
philosopher. That is character sketch of Tughlaq. Okay, all positive. But if you write general character sketch the character of Tughlaq, you have to write always negative things also. Here only positive. Why there was a gap? Why there was a gap between Tughlaq and his public? Why there was a gap between Tughlaq and his public? Last question. Write a note on the relevance of Tughlaq, on the relevance of Tughlaq in contemporary society. A short note on the structure of the play. The structure of the play is very linear.
Ma'am, is this another question?
Yes. No, no, it's not question. It is about the structure. Note. If question comes, you can include. The
Okay, ma'am.
structure of the play is very linear. There is an abrupt beginning and abrupt end. There is
The
no
struc
description on the. Yes. Any
Ma'am,
question?
ma'am, the structure is the play
Very
very linear.
linear.
Then
Very linear.
linear. Yes. Then
There is no beginning or there is no end. Abruptly the play starts and abruptly it ends. Beginning means there is no previous background description. Like Ramayana. We start reading Ramayana but we get all information about his childhood. No such things happen. Exactly from the day of the event the story starts. Okay.
okay, ma'am.
Another thing I was telling I was disturbed. What you said? What else I have written? I have given?
There is no
There is
description of
There is no
description of
yes of the background of the life of the protagonist. Muhammad is introduced to the readers. Muhammad is introduced to the readers abruptly from his functions. Each scene tells about new episodes. Each scene tells about new episodes. The story progresses keeping in view story progresses, variety of keeping in view variety of thoughts which are there among all characters. The autocracy of idea or the idea of autocracy which prevailed in the mind of the king made him obstinate in his words,
Made him
obstinate, obstinate, obstinate in his words, and created new events or new things happened in various scenes. And new things happened in various scenes. Some short note about the assessment of the play. Assessment of the play. The play Tughlaq has been compared to Western plays.
And the
Western plays
luck.
has been compared to Western plays, namely Camus' Caligula. Camus' Caligula, where the theme is limitless human power. Where the theme is limitless power. Critics also comment that Tughlaq is a political allegory.
Tughlaq is a
Critics
Political allegory.
political allegory. Political allegory. And this play is, of course, according to critic Dr. Pai, Dr. Ashok Pai, is a case study of split personality, is a case study of split personality representing the deep rooted qualities of human nature. Deep rooted qualities, deep rooted dualities, not qualities, dualities, DUAL, double standard, duplicate personality, dualities of human nature, split personality. Many people also criticize that this is not a true historical play. And Girish Karnad had not remained honest to do justice to the historicity of the play. Historicity. To do justice to the historicity of the play. It is very enigmatic. Enigmatic. It is very enigmatic and full of confusion. Most of the scenes of the play present the hero or the protagonist in a very contradictory way, until the end the general quantities could not be established. So he is a man of opposite extremes. He is a man of extreme opposites. Very good, very fond of a flower, very fond of poetry, very fond of love, but very brutal to kill his own kith and kin. So he is a man of extreme opposites. So Tughlaq may be a great creation of Girish Karnad, but it has remained open for vehement criticism. For vehement criticism, VEHGMENT, vehement criticism, even till today. So this is all about Tughlaq. Thank you. Class is over.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. If you find time,
Thank you, ma'am.
okay. Please read the text.
Tomorrow is the next class.
Yeah,
Yes,
tomorrow
ma'am.
class is at 6. Normal time. Okay?
Okay, 6 to 8 o'clock.
Okay. Yes.